I had 1 hour, 60 minutes, and that was it. Every day I had to make a choice: waste it or use it to survive. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the free hour. It's your boy Tree, Trevor Turner, and we're back with another video. This is a really special video, y'all. Today, I want to talk to you all about the hour that changed my life. I want to talk to you all about what brought about the free hour. I want to talk to y'all what brought about this philosophy, these techniques, this strategy that I found that changed my life in such profound ways. I want to talk to y'all about the hour that changed my life. I want to talk to y'all about what the free hour is. I want to talk to y'all about how to bring it into your life. We're going to talk about the different ways that I've used the free hour in my own life. We're going to talk about the different ways that you can use the free hour in your own life. And we're really going to get started on what it means to implement this practice into your life. We're going to talk about where it can take you. We're going to talk about what it can do for you. We're really going to get into what it means to practice the free hour. And let's get into it. I want to tell you about the hour that changed my life. I want to tell you about the situation that I was in. I want to tell you about where I was. So it was 2021. COVID was still a thing. And I had just been arrested. I'd just been pulled over with, someone I was dating at the time. And, they caught me with a bunch of stuff. And I knew that I was going to be gone for some years. I knew that I wasn't going to see home. I knew that I wasn't going to see family. I knew that I wasn't going to see friends. I knew that I wasn't going to see the streets, basically. And this wasn't the first time. I've been in and out a lot of times. This time there was a nice little stretch of time between the last time I had gone to prison and this time. And I was like kicking myself. I was wondering why I had fallen back on these old things. I was wondering why I had fell back so quickly on these old behaviors. I was wondering why it was so easy for me to go back to, you know, that lifestyle that I had thought that I had abandoned. And one of the things that I found when I was in here, I found out why, I found out how to prevent it, and I found out how to thrive. Not only survive, but how to thrive. I think that's what I was doing before. I was surviving. I was living my life just like not with any purpose, not with any direction, not with any real goals. I was just kind of going through the motions. I was just kind of trying to avoid things instead of pursue anything. I was trying to avoid jail, avoid the lifestyle, avoid certain people, avoid certain places. I wasn't trying to get to anywhere. I wasn't trying to get to anything new. I wasn't trying to get to anyone new. I wasn't trying to get to a new destination. And I think that was my main problem because during this situation, we only had an hour that we could get out of our cell every single day. 1 hour. We were on 23-hour COVID lockdown. COVID was still a thing, like I said. And we are stuck in our cell for 23 hours a day. And the thing was, it reminded me so much of being on the streets because when I was on the streets, I was locked into this routine. I was locked into this lifestyle. I was locked into what I was doing. I was locked in. It was like I had no other choice. It was like I had no escape. It was like I had no other recourse, no other options. I was just locked into waking up, putting something in my body that wasn't healthy. It wasn't food. It wasn't sustenance. It wasn't nutrients. And I was just going 24/7, going. I would like maybe get an hour of break, an hour of rest, an hour away from the grind. And then my phone would go off and I'd be back at it. The people that I actually wanted to be around waiting on me forever because I'm too busy trying to make some money. I'm too busy trying to grind. I'm too busy trying to hustle. I'm too busy locked into what I was doing, the negative lifestyle, the negative habits. And it was the same. It was so similar being locked in that cell for 23 hours a day. It was so similar just being stuck there with my thoughts, being stuck there with all the hatreds, being stuck there with all the anger and all the sadness and all the loneliness and everything negative that was just pouring out of me that I had poured into myself for so many years. And I couldn't be alone with my thoughts. I couldn't like rest. I couldn't like get myself comfortable or situated until I had the hour that changed my life. I already had a GED by this time. I had already, done some college classes and stuff. But they said that everybody in the unit could go to the GED class. Everybody in the unit could get out of their cells for a little bit. Everybody in the unit could walk down the hallway. Everybody in the unit, as long as they wanted to, would have the opportunity, to go and get into this GED class. And wouldn't take off none of my time. I hadn't been sentenced yet. It wouldn't really do nothing positive for me, but I just needed to get out of what I was doing. I needed so desperately to get away, to get a break, to get a little bit of a respite, to just get a little bit that I went. And I think that was the beginning of it because when I got there, he didn't talk to us about anything even remotely related to GEDs. He didn't talk to us about anything remotely related to maths or sciences or language arts, social studies, whatever that you do on the GED test. He didn't talk to us about none of that. What he did though was he gave us a book. What he did though was give us a sales pitch for why we should read this book that was written in the 1930s or 1929 before the Great Depression, or during the when the Great Depression was ramping up. What he did was tell us that they believe that this book, written by Napoleon Hill, should be a requirement at the time, way back then, for anybody who wanted to graduate from high school or anybody who wanted to graduate from college. What he did was warn us about the language in it. It wasn't politically correct language. It wasn't language that would be considered acceptable today. And what he did was gave us all a free copy. And this was the beginning. So when we got back to the cell, we had missed our hour out. We had missed our hour out, but unbeknownst to me at the time, even though I missed the phone call, even though we missed being able to take a shower, even though we missed being able to get a workout in, even though we missed all of those things and we were complaining about it in the cell. Trust me, we were complaining. Unbeknownst to me at the time, that hour that we spent getting this, learning about this book would be the start, would be the beginning of something that would change my life so dramatically. And then I started reading that book. One of the things that I think really helped me out too is the fact that I had a cellie. He, there was two things. Not only one, he can't really read that well, and number two, he can't see that well. So they didn't let him keep his glasses for whatever reason. They didn't like him. They were, trying to railroad him and shit all through his whole court process. The police didn't like him. They was just kind of like, treating him like shit. So he didn't have his glasses. He couldn't see well, and he couldn't read that well. So he asked me. I had already, mind you, I had already volunteered to read him, entertainment books, urbans, science fiction books, other fiction books. And he asked me if I could read this book to him. This book by Napoleon Hill with this technical language that was talking about things like frequencies and vibrations and responsibility and not being able to get something for nothing and visualizations and the power of people working together and the power of things like sexual energy. And he asked me to read it to him, and I think that that is something that really helped spark, that really was a catalyst for me starting this transformation. And what I found reading that book to him was purpose. It came as a hunch, like Napoleon Hill says. It came as a flash of inspiration. It came as something that was just so simple when I looked at my situation, because I know most people aren't locked in a cell. But what if I told you that you're just as trapped in your routine as I was? You are just as trapped in your routine. You are just as trapped in your mediocre results. You are just as trapped in the life that you settled for to survive as I was, not only in that cell, but in that lifestyle that I thought that I was avoiding all of those years. That lifestyle that I did not want, that lifestyle that I was so focused on avoiding that I ended up finding it. What if I told you that you're just as trapped in that routine as I was? And it was so simple because every time that I came out of that cell after finding this purpose, every time that I came out of that cell after finding this resolution, after finding these goals, I realized that I had 1 hour, 60 minutes. That was it every day. Every day I had a choice: waste it or use it to survive, use it to carry me through the other 23. Use it to load up on everything positive that I needed from external sources, everything positive that I needed health wise, everything positive that I needed to carry me through that 23, to carry us through that 23. If you only had 1 hour to change your life, how would you use it? I could have spent that hour angry. I could have spent that hour wasting time doing nothing, but instead I used it to build something. I used it to build myself. And I've kind of alluded to this time and time again throughout these videos, is that when I was out there, I used it to communicate with people that would build me up. I used it to, get my hands on books that other people wouldn't not necessarily allow me to take into the cell with me, because they were in the middle of reading it. They had to return it to somebody else or whatever. So I would go and I would get a bar of it during that hour. I would go and I would shower, keep myself clean. I would go and I would work out. I would go and I would get on the phone, and I would do all of these things during that 1 hour that would help build me, that would help carry me through. And these small, small changes that I was making in the background, behind the scenes, were helping me actually change how I was able to think about those 23 hours, how I was able to view those 23 hours. Those changes that I made, those tiny changes during that 60-minute period, actually allowed me to change my perspective, to be able to use the rest of the 23, to be able to look at the rest of the 23 as the opportunity that they really were. I started packing that hour with everything I could that could get me through the next 23. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about surviving prison. It was a blueprint for freedom in life. It was a blueprint for my future. It was a blueprint for what I was going to do when I got out. It was a blueprint for what I was going to do to thrive. It was a blueprint for my goals. It was a blueprint for where I was going. It was a blueprint for finding purpose and finding destination. And as I added more to that hour, as I added more reading, as I added more talking to people, as I added more teaching, as I added more memorizations, as I added more of working out, as I added more of positivity, I was able to see that these destinations that I wanted to get to, that these goals, that this purpose, that this compass, that this constitution I was developing for myself was what was actually going to keep me away from everything that I hated, everything that I had been trying to avoid, but focusing on. It was going to help me find the new life, the new people to surround myself with, the new results, by changing myself from the inside out and doing it in small hourly increments. So, what is a free hour? The free hour is one intentional hour a day that you dedicate to transforming your life mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And why it works is because it's consistency over intensity. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. It's impossible to overhaul your life overnight. Just commit to 1 hour, just commit to small changes. As you make these small changes on the inside of yourself, as you make these small changes to how you think and how you feel, how you look at things, as you make these small changes to how you eat, how you treat your body, how you feel about your body, if you make these small changes to how you feel about the world around you, how you feel about other people, if you make these small changes to how you feel about yourself, it will start to carry over. It will start to literally change the course of your life. The change starts small, but it stacks up. Dr. James Clear wrote Atomic Habits. Habits built in small, consistent time blocks lead to permanent change. And then Dr. BJ Fogg, tiny habits are more effective than overwhelming lifestyle shifts. One of the things that happens is this: we see things that need to change, but what we end up doing is trying to change the symptoms of what needs to actually change. We see our life going in a direction we don't want it to go. So instead of going to the steering wheel and changing the direction that the rudder is going, instead of turning it just a small little bit, we'll try to yank that wheel this way, try to yank that wheel that way. And you remember when SUVs used to roll is because you would try to overcorrect. You would try to make too big of a turn and then overcorrect when you saw that it was too much. That's what happens when you do these huge lifestyle shifts, because you are doing things, or you are requiring of yourself motivation, dedication. You're requiring of yourself all this consistency and stuff that you have never had within your life. But if you are able to give yourself small, realistic goals, like an hour a day of self transformation, you can easily do it. So let's talk about the four key areas of the free hour. Step one is mental growth. Expand your mind daily. Reading, listening to a podcast, journaling thoughts and lessons. We talk about neuroplasticity with this. The brain rewires itself through learning, strengthening cognitive ability. You are never too old to learn. This goes back to the growth mindset. You are not born at your limits. You do not hit your limits during school. You should be a lifelong learner, learning about the things that you want to do, learning about the places that you want to go, learning about the destinations that you want to end up in, and then learning even from there. If that means looking at articles, if that means listening to social media posts about the subjects that you want to be knowledgeable in, about the destinations that you want to go, listening to podcasts, if you're on the go, reading books, find your heroes, read about them, read about what they did. A lot of times, the people that we look up to, the people that we admire, the people that created the things that we want to create, started in such similar situations to us. It's almost uncanny when you look at the things like I want to write, and you go back and you look at how many writers were addicted to something, how many writers were alcoholics. There are writers who were in prison, and you look at the way that they reshaped their life. You look at the way that they were able to change their focus and change their effort. Physical development, move your body, stretching, exercise, breath work. John Rady, Spark, the revolutionary new science of exercise in the brain. Exercise increases focus, memory, and motivation. Look, the benefits of exercising your body are unexplainable in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, they've done studies on it. You can see the effects in people, you can see the longevity in people. But what it will do for you if you start moving, if you get up and start exercising, if you just start taking care of your body, is it you'll live longer, you'll feel better, you'll think better, you'll do better. Everything will be better. And the thing about it is this: it does not have to be, you don't have to be in the gym for 3 hours. You don't have to get up and do a bodybuilder a workout split. You can do what I did, and you can do cardio for 20 minutes every day, like I was doing when I was out for that hour a day, because I would do my cardio for 20 minutes, hop in the shower for 10, hop on the phone for 10, go run around and do all the stuff that I had to do for the next 20. And I was able to fit everything into that 1 hour. Get out and walk. Go do something. Just move your body. Then emotional health, self awareness in relationships, meditation, self reflection, practicing gratitude, meaningful conversations. Dr. Christian Neff, self compassion research, Gratitude and mindfulness reduce stress and increase resilience. Look, the thing that really revolutionized my 3 hour practice was gratitude. When I was able to find gratitude, I saw the most profound effects to my day to day, everyday life. The way that I looked at things, the way that I felt about things, I had already started to reframe. I had already started to see my destination. I had started to get more hope, right? When I knew that I had a new destination, when I knew that I had new possibilities, when I knew that I had new avenues. But what helped carry me through every single day to where I can feel like, hey, today, every day you see me is the best day of my life. I want you to know that. It's because of gratitude. It's because when I wake up every single day, no matter how negative, no matter how many negative thoughts are trying to run through my mind and take over, I drop down, I focus on gratitude. I focus on what I'm thankful for. And I've talked about this a million times. I was able to do it when I had nothing. I was able to do it when I was sleeping on a metal slab. I was able to do it when I wasn't getting nobody to answer the phone when I was in prison. I was able to do it when my CC1 was telling me, no, you're not going to these programs that we promise you that you're going to. I was able to do it then. And it gave me a day to day hope. It gave me a day to day reason to smile. It gave me an everyday reason to keep going. And it gave me an everyday just, it made me shine. It made me glow. And then spiritual practice, connecting with something greater, prayer, silence, nature, deep reflection on purpose. Harvard study on happiness, an 85-year longitudinal study. People who have meaning and purpose in life experience higher well being. One of the things that I found out, and this helps me a lot, is because I've heard it quoted. A motivational speaker say the fruit is not for the tree. In the purpose driven life, your purpose is not for you. In Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, the greatest state of being is being uh, not independent, but interdependent. People are the most important thing. Other people are the most important thing. Connecting with other people, serving other people, doing for other people. And when you get to the point where you are able to look at something greater, when you are able to get to the point and look at connection, it's not necessarily about believing in a God or God. It's just about believing that there is a greater scheme, there is a greater reasoning, there is a greater motive for the things that you have, the things that you can do, the things that you are striving for, whether or not that's other people, whether or not that's your family, whether or not that's the family you want to start, whether or not that's the people that you love, the people that you already feel connected with, or you're able to get like me and start to do it for everybody that you haven't connected with. And you want to start to help everybody who is stuck in similar situations, who is stuck in similar things. It's about finding something to shoot for. It's about finding a reason to do this. So let's talk about how to start your own free hour, a practical blueprint. So here's how you can apply this in real life. Pick your hour. Morning, lunch break, before bed. When can you consistently make time? And divide it up. 15 minutes for each category, or split however works for you. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you want to use the whole hour on physical activity. That's fine. Tuesday, Thursday, you want to use it on journaling, meditation, reading, praying, silence, whatever. That's fine. That's great. And then Saturday, you want to use it on self care. You want to use it on pampering yourself physically and resting. That's great. Sunday, you want to use it connecting with other people, whether that's church, whether that's a Zoom meeting with some friends, whether that's playing some D&D. It does not matter how you implement it. What matters is that you implement it. Track the progress, journal, habit track, reflections. I want you to think about these free hours as steps. They're not stagnant. You grow. And remind yourself every time that you do it how much you've grown. And then adjust as needed. Like I said, some days are for growth, some days are for recovery, some days are just for rest. Some days are just to chill and be with yourself. Some days are just to talk to that person that you love. Some days are just to talk with your family. And that's all you need to do. And that's okay. That's fine. I used to think an hour wasn't enough. Now I know it's more than enough to change everything. Your free hour is waiting. The question is, will you use it? If you commit to this for the next 7 days, how will you use your free hour? Drop a comment below. If you commit to this for the next 7 days, I want you to think about what your free hour is going to look like. I want you to start putting it down, putting it in your iPad, putting it in your phone, writing it down on paper. I want you to tell me what that free hour is going to look like. Or you don't even have to tell me. I want you to tell yourself what that free hour is going to look like for the next 7 days. If that's going to walk for an hour on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday so you can get up, if that's stretching for 15 minutes, journaling for 15 minutes, listening to funny videos for 15 minutes, allowing yourself to laugh, allowing yourself to get connection with other people through the power of laughter. If that's being on the phone or texting somebody for 15 minutes, find out what that looks like for you. Find out what that looks like for you. And then also find out the why that is important for you. Why is that going to build you up? Explain to yourself how that is going to help you. Explain to yourself how that is going to carry you through the next 23. Explain to yourself how that is going to change your 23. Explain to yourself how in 5 years that is going to add exponential growth to your life, how it is going to change your life. Maybe if you find your free hour in the morning and you start your morning with laughter, it carries you through your day so that you're not depressed, so that you're not in a slump, so that you're not feeling down, so that you're able to laugh at work with people that you can't stand. And then after 5 years, you start to love these people. After 5 years, you want to do for these people. After 5 years, you're able to look at their shortcomings and realize, okay, that is just weaknesses and strengths that everybody has. And instead of focusing on those shortcomings, you focus on their strengths. You focus how you can make up for their shortcomings. You focus on how you can use other people in your team to make up for everybody's shortcomings. You focus on bringing yourself up. You focus on thriving instead of surviving. Think about how those things will transform you. Think about how those things will get you further. Think about how those things will become a compass, how they will become a trajectory, how they will become the rudder for your ship. Write those things down, put those things down, really think about those things, and then start doing it. Commit to it. 7 days. 7 days straight, commit to that free hour. And let me know how it was. All right? Thank you for watching. It's been your boy Trevor Turner. Thank you for joining me on the hour that changed my life. All right? Deuces.